There's times when we see a work of art, and it just resonates, and we go back to it again and again. And that was the case for me with Mike Mazer. When the first time I saw the suite of etchings that he did for Dante's Inferno, I was smitten. And I ended up buying an edition of the book so that I could go back to those pieces again and again. And I share them a lot with students, even this semester. So Mike is definitely on the list. I think, I take a lot inspiration from a lot of different places and different disciplines. I have always loved Agnes Martin's work. And I think part of it with Agnes Martin is, again, that kind of the infusion of meditation into the work, the subtlety, the nuances of graphite on canvas, I just adore. And, she made her own path. She made the decision to not stay in the New York art world, but go to the place that fed her. And her career ultimately came back around and flourished. And I think there's something very admirable in making those kind of decisions. Some other people, Annie Dillard, the poet Annie Dillard, has been a big one for me. And I think the poetics of her language and the way that Dillard, pulls from the sciences, from contemplative practices, and all of these different sources to create these, very powerful works. And they've just resonated again and again with me, whether it's, Pilgrim on Tinker Creek, which, has all these great visual images of the natural world, to, her writings on just being a writer. I love her quote about, schedules and, times, it's like chaos, the schedule prevents the chaos, there's no shortage of good days, that kind of, the way she exposes the discipline of being a creative has been very important to me. And then another one was one that I found I think there's something to being open, right? And you never know, you could be at a hospital going to get a Coke and you can find work that inspires you. I'm also someone, I'm very active. I'm just getting used to the label of athlete again. But I used to read Yoga Journal, and I'm flipping through the pages of Yoga Journal years ago. And there was an article on a French poet who had just published a collection of tantric drawings. And there are these amazing drawings that were created in India as totally meditative. And they would be made on pieces of paper that would be discarded. And that was a moment. It's like the same thing. I had to get that book. It's one of those books that whenever I move, I'm like, that one's staying close to me, because of how the work just resonates in its symbology and its use of color, and that idea of making something from an egoless place, for me anyway, very, easier said than done, has just been very powerful. And also, I think, sometimes you can pull some good things from music. I was listening to a TED Talk this morning with Roseanne Cash, and the way that she pulls from her family history, and the poetry of her writing. I love a good movie. I think that was on the list. My favorite movie, probably La Via Bella, a movie that can make me laugh and cry, that can give me that multiplicity of feelings, will be something that I go back to again and again.